You know what society tells you, right? Block them, stay silent, and poof, like magic, they'll come crawling back, begging for another chance. Let me tell you something. You've been scammed. They sold you a dream, a cheap, recycled fantasy that keeps you sitting there, frozen, hoping, waiting, dying for a sign that they still care. And while you wait, your peace, your confidence, your very sense of self-worth, it's rotting away. This no-contact thing you're clinging to, it's not what they told you. It's not about sitting in the corner, biting your nails, and staring at your phone like it holds the meaning of life. No, it's about blinding them with your shine. It's about becoming so untouchable, so magnetic, so out of their league, that when they do finally look up, they're left squinting, wondering how they ever let you slip away. But what are you doing instead? Be honest with yourself. Are you sitting there like a lovesick puppy, scrolling through their socials, rereading old texts, imagining scenarios where they wake up, suddenly realize they're incomplete without you, and come running back? Wake up. That's not power. That's self-destruction, gift-wrapped as hope. Do you think sitting there waiting for them to notice is attractive? No, seriously, do you? Because it's not. Picture it. Someone sitting in the dark, staring at their phone like a moth circling a dead light bulb. That's what waiting looks like. Pathetic, powerless, desperate. And you think they'll look at you and go, "Wow, what a catch." No, they'll forget you. They'll move on. Because people are drawn to energy, to growth, to strength. Not to someone who's stuck, frozen in time, waiting for validation like it's a handout. Let me tell you something about silence. Silence is power when mixed with action. Silence without action? That's just noise waiting to be ignored. But when your silence is fueled by growth, by transformation, by becoming someone so radiant that they can't help but notice, that's power. No contact isn't about them. It's not about making them miss you, regret losing you, or come crawling back with an apology. That's a fairy tale for the weak. No contact is about you. It's about standing so damn tall that even your shadow intimidates them. It's about walking into the room. Nah, scratch that. It's about walking into life and owning it so fully that their absence doesn't matter anymore. You think this is about waiting for their attention? No. This is about thriving so hard they wouldn't even recognize you if they saw you again. This is about becoming untouchable. This is about power. And let me tell you, power isn't sitting there quietly, hoping they notice you. Power is living so fully that the thought of waiting feels like a joke. So today, stop kidding yourself. Stop letting this no contact eat you alive, because that's what it's doing. Every second you spend hoping they'll notice is a second wasted, a second stolen from the incredible life you're meant to live. So here's your challenge. Drop this in the comments. I thrive in no contact. And don't shy away from it. Kill that weak side of you, the one that clings, the one that waits, the one that begs for scraps. Because now you're not weak. You're strong. This no contact, this is your power. This is your stage, and you're here to thrive in it. Be bold. Declare your worth to the world. Show them. This time, it's not about them. It's about you. It's about rising, about becoming so magnetic, so powerful, that the thought of waiting feels beneath you. So show yourself, to yourself. Write it down. I thrive in no contact. Because this is not your line in the sand. This is your moment to rise. This isn't about waiting. This is about winning. Number 1. Silence is golden, but action is platinum. Let me paint you a picture. You're sitting on a bench, staring at the phone like it's some magical device that can summon the love you crave. Silence fills the air. You think it's golden. You believe it's enough to make them notice your absence, to pull them back to you. But here's the truth you don't want to hear. Silence without action isn't golden. It's cheap plastic. It's powerless. It's passive. And in their world, it barely makes a ripple. Silence has power, sure, but only when it's laced with action. Think of silence as the pause before a lightning strike. Without the strike, the silence is just quiet. Do you think someone who rejected you or pushed you aside is going to suddenly turn around because you've gone silent? They won't. Not unless that silence is backed by transformation so undeniable, so magnetic, that it speaks louder than any words ever could. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Silence without action is you giving away your power. It's sitting in the dark, hoping the universe, or worse, they, will hand you a flashlight. But silence with action, that's you becoming the fire. That's you lighting up the world so brightly that no one, not even them, can ignore your glow. Think about the people who've truly turned rejection into fuel. Take Beyoncé, for example. When she split from Destiny's Child, people doubted her. They thought she'd fade into the background. Did she sit in silence, waiting for the world to notice her absence? No. She went to work. She transformed herself into a global icon, someone so unstoppable that her silence in the face of doubters became a roar when backed by action. Her silence wasn't passive. It was the calm before the hurricane. Or consider Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. Did he sulk in the corner, hoping his coach would regret the decision? He went silent and took action, spending hours practicing until he became the greatest basketball player of all time. His silence was golden because his action was platinum. Now, let's bring it back to you. You're using no contact, hoping to attract someone who has distanced themselves. You think your silence will make them curious, make them miss you, make them wonder if they've lost something irreplaceable. And maybe, just maybe, they will, but only if that silence is accompanied by action. Silence without growth is just a void. Silence with growth is a force of nature. Picture this. You're not just sitting quietly. You're hitting the gym, reshaping your body into the best version of yourself. You're diving into new passions, creating art, building a business, or learning a skill you've always wanted to master. You're leveling up in every way possible, so that when they do look your way, they're not just curious, they're stunned. They're blinded by the shine of someone they never thought you could become. Here's the hard truth. If they rejected you, they already weren't seeing your worth. So why are you waiting for their validation? Why are you using silence as a weapon without sharpening it with action? Muhammad Ali once said, "It's not the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe." You're in action. You're waiting. That's the pebble. It's what's holding you back, not them. If you want to use silence as a tool, then make it work for you. Let them see your absence not as emptiness, but as transformation. Let them wonder, what have they been up to? Let your new energy be so undeniable that even their indifference can't withstand it. But this doesn't happen by magic. It happens by work, by action. Think of silence like a bowstring. Pull it back without releasing and it's just tension. But release it with precision, with strength, and it becomes a force that hits its target. Your silence must be the pull, but your action must be the release. Without the two working together, all you've got is wasted energy. Take a deep look in the mirror. Are you using silence as an excuse to do nothing, or are you letting it fuel your transformation? Are you hoping they notice your absence, or are you working so hard that you'll barely notice theirs? Because that's the real test here. Stop waiting for them to hear the silence. Start making them feel it. Build yourself so high, grow so fiercely, that your silence roars louder than anything you could say. Become the person who no longer needs them to see your worth, because you're too busy living it. This isn't about getting them back. This is about getting you back. So use your silence wisely. Mix it with action, and let the result speak for itself. And before we move further, if you have any questions or thoughts lingering in your mind, don't hold back. Drop them in the comments. And hey, if everything I've said so far hits home and makes sense, this video definitely deserves a like, right? So go ahead, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to stay part of this journey. Now, let's move towards something that's going to change how you see everything. Number 2, stop wishing. They'd miss you. Make them regret losing you. So folks, society tells you this no contact rule is about one thing, making them miss you. You're told to disappear like a ghost, and they'll suddenly realize they can't live without you. Sounds good, right? But here's the catch. It's a lie, a scam, a sweet little fairy tale sold to the desperate. Because while you're sitting there wishing they'd miss you, they're out there living their life, and you're stuck, letting your mind eat you alive. Wishing isn't power. Wishing is weakness disguised as hope. Let's be real. Do you think they're lying awake at night, crying over your absence, while you're replaying every memory in your head? No, they're not. And every second you waste wishing they'd notice you is a second you're giving away. Why are you handing them your power? Why are you letting their indifference control your story? Here's the hard truth. You don't need them to miss you. You need to make them regret losing you. And that doesn't happen by sitting in silence, staring at your phone, and hoping for a miracle. It happens by action. It happens by transforming yourself into someone they'll look back on and realize they never deserved. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Stop wishing for their attention. Stop wanting them to feel your pain. Instead, become someone so strong, so undeniable, that their regret isn't about missing you. It's about realizing they could never have you again." Picture this. You're not a ghost haunting their thoughts. You're a phoenix rising from the ashes, glowing so brightly that even their blind indifference can't ignore you. You're not whispering, "Do you miss me?" You're roaring, "Look at what you lost." Take Beyoncé, for example. When life handed her betrayal, did she sit there wishing for things to go back to how they were? Hell no. She channeled that pain into power. She built an empire so strong that anyone who dared to underestimate her couldn't even touch her level anymore. Beyoncé didn't just make people miss her. She made them regret ever doubting her. And it's not just celebrities. Think about Thomas Edison, who faced failure after failure. Did he sit there, wishing the world would recognize his worth? No, he kept building, kept innovating, until he became a name no one could forget. That's what you need to do. You're not waiting for them to see you. You're becoming someone they can't ignore. Here's a metaphor for you. Wishing is like sitting in a boat with no paddles, staring at the shore you want to reach, hoping the tide will carry you there. Regret? Regret is when you grab those paddles, row with all your strength, and build a whole new life on a better shore. So good that they're left stranded on the old one, staring at what they'll never have again. You need to understand this. Regret is a byproduct of your growth, not your silence. You can't wish someone into missing you, but you can work so hard on yourself, level up so fiercely, that they can't help but see you in a different light. And by the time they do, it's too late. Stop focusing on them. Stop hoping they'll notice you. Every ounce of energy you spend wishing for their attention is energy wasted on someone who has already chosen to look away. Instead, use that energy to fuel your rise. Get in the gym, read the books, take the courses, chase the goals that light your soul on fire. Let their indifference be the gasoline to your fire, not the chains that hold you down. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Right now, you're at a crossroads. You can either sit there wishing, waiting, and wasting away, or you can stand up, take control, and become the person you were meant to be. The one who doesn't just move on, they move up. Think about this. If they didn't value you when they had you, why are you still valuing them now that they're gone? Why are you prioritizing someone who couldn't see your worth? That's like polishing a broken mirror and hoping it will reflect your shine. Stop that. Let their distance be the sign you need to pour all that love, all that energy into yourself. Remember this, regret doesn't come from silence. It comes from seeing someone they underestimated turn into someone they can't touch. Make them regret not seeing your worth by becoming someone so magnetic, so powerful, that even their memory of you feels out of reach. And before you start thinking, but what if they don't regret it? Let me stop you right there. Who cares? This isn't about them. This is about you. Regret is just a side effect of your success, your growth, your shine, your rise. That's the real win. So stop wishing, start working, stop hoping, start building. This isn't about missing you. It's about realizing you're a whole damn universe they were too blind to see. Drop this in the comments. I rise. I conquer. Let it be your declaration. This isn't about waiting for them. This is about winning for you. Number 3. Blocking is easy, and that's why you buy it. Blocking is the modern-day bandage for heartbreak. It's the first thing people tell you to do when someone breaks your heart. Just block them, they say, as if pressing a button will erase all the pain, all the memories, all the emotional chaos they left behind. And you know why you buy it? Because it's easy. Blocking feels like power. It feels like control. You convince yourself that shutting them out digitally means shutting them out emotionally. But here's the harsh truth. Blocking someone doesn't heal you. It just hides the mess. It's the equivalent of sweeping dirt under the rug. Sure, it looks clean for a moment, but the dirt is still there, festering, waiting to resurface. Let me ask you something. What's your goal? Is it to genuinely move on, or is it to create the illusion of strength? Blocking might give you a momentary high, but it doesn't change anything inside of you. If they still occupy your thoughts, if their actions still have power over your emotions, then blocking them is nothing more than a placebo. It's a quick fix for a long-term problem. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Blocking someone is an outside event. It's an action you take to avoid confronting the real issue, the part of you that still gives them space in your mind. True strength doesn't come from pressing a button. It comes from outgrowing them so completely that their presence or absence doesn't matter anymore. Think of it this way. Blocking is like putting a wall up between you and a fire. You can't see the flames anymore, but you can still feel the heat. The fire doesn't go out just because you built a wall. It still burns, and it will keep burning until you take action to put it out. Now, let's talk about what really hurts. Blocking is easy because it feels like a quick solution, but it's also a cheat code for avoiding the hard work of healing. And you know what? Healing isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be uncomfortable, challenging and transformative. That's why it works. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you face the fire and walk through it. Take someone like Oprah Winfrey. She didn't block her pain or hide from the challenges life threw at her. She confronted them, worked through them, and turned her struggles into fuel for her rise. She didn't just block the negativity, she outgrew it. And now, she's a symbol of strength and resilience. That's the difference between blocking and thriving. Or think about J.K. Rowling. Rejected by countless publishers, broke and struggling, she could have blocked out the world and given up. Instead, she faced every rejection and turned her pain into one of the most successful book series in history. Blocking didn't make her stronger. Persevering did. When you block someone, ask yourself this: are you blocking them to protect your peace? Are you doing it because it's easier than dealing with the pain? There's a huge difference. Blocking can be a boundary, sure, but only if it's paired with action. If you're not doing the work to heal, grow and thrive, then blocking them is just a way to delay the inevitable. Here's the reality. True power doesn't come from shutting them out. It comes from building yourself up so much that they no longer have access to you, not because of a button you pressed, but because you've risen to a level they can't reach. That's power. That's freedom. Blocking is easy. Thriving is hard. That's why so many people choose the easy path. They want the appearance of strength without doing the work to achieve it. But let me tell you something. The easy path never leads to greatness. If you really want to move on, to shine, to become untouchable, then stop hiding behind the block button and start building the life you deserve. Blocking them is fine, but don't stop there. Use that space to focus on you. Pour your energy into your growth. Go to the gym, take that class you've been putting off, start the business you've dreamed of. Create a life so full, so rich, that their absence feels like a blessing, not a loss. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you want to be free, act like it. If you want to thrive, stop settling for half measures. Blocking might close a door, but it doesn't open new ones. That's your job, to create a new path, a new purpose, and a new version of yourself. So, here's the challenge. Stop using the block button as a crutch. Use it as a stepping stone. Let it create the space you need to heal and grow, but don't let it fool you into thinking the work is done. The work begins now. Drop this in the comments. I rise above blocking. Because you're not here to take the easy way out. You're here to thrive. Number 4, they're distant because you taught them to. So folks, let me show you the real problem here. Society. Oh, society loves to tell you that when someone is distant, it's a them problem. Oh, they're afraid of commitment. They're just emotionally unavailable. It's not you, it's them. And while that might sound comforting, it's also a big fat lie. The truth? They're distant because you taught them to be. You heard me. You set the stage. You handed them the script. Every time you overextended yourself, every time you excused their bad behavior, every time you ignored the red flags, you taught them exactly how to treat you. You lowered the bar, and they got comfortable stepping over it. You let their distance slide, and they learned it was okay to keep pushing you away. Marcus Aurelius said, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But what did you do? You gave away that power. You made their distance your problem. Instead of standing firm, you bent over backward trying to close the gap. And guess what? That bending didn't make you stronger. It made you easier to overlook. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you're a flame, bright and strong. At first, they were drawn to your light, your warmth, your energy. But then, slowly, you started dimming yourself. Every time they pulled away, you burned a little less brightly, trying not to overwhelm them, trying to keep them close. But here's the thing, no one respects a flickering flame. They don't notice when it's gone, and they certainly don't chase it. And here's where it gets worse. Their distance has trained you, too. It's turned you into a chaser. Every time they pull away, you chase harder, desperate to close that space. Do you know what that makes you look like? A shadow. You're not standing tall anymore. You're following them, shrinking, bending, doing whatever it takes to stay in their light. And do you think they'll respect that? Do you think they'll value someone who's always chasing, never standing firm? People respect what they have to work for. They value what they might lose. But you've been giving away your value like it's a clearance sale. Every time you tolerate their distance without demanding better, you reinforce their behavior. You teach them that your presence is guaranteed, no matter how little effort they put in. Take Rihanna, for example. When she faced betrayal and heartbreak, did she chase? Did she dim her light? No. She stepped into her power, built an empire, and became so magnetic that her absence was felt in every room she left. She didn't teach people to take her for granted. She taught them to level up or lose her. That's what power looks like. Or think about Steve Jobs. Fired from his own company, he didn't chase the board, begging for a second chance. He went silent, worked on himself, and came back stronger, so undeniable they couldn't ignore him. His distance wasn't passive. It was a lesson. Now, let's bring it back to you. You've been tolerating their distance, haven't you? Making excuses for it. They're busy. They're stressed. They just need time. But let me ask you this. If they truly valued you, would they make you feel like this? Would they pull away, knowing the damage it does? No. They're distant because they know you'll stick around anyway. You've taught them that distance has no consequences. It's time to rewrite the lesson. Stop chasing. Stop bending. Stop trying to close the gap they created. If they're distant, let them stay distant. Let their absence teach them what your presence truly meant. Because here's the truth. If someone values you, they won't let the distance grow. And if they don't value you, why are you wasting your energy on them? Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How much more time are you going to waste waiting for someone to close the distance they created? How much longer will you let their half-hearted efforts dictate your worth? Here's what you need to do. Stop teaching them that you'll tolerate their distance. Teach them that your time, your energy, and your presence are privileges, not guarantees. Start by reclaiming your power. When they pull away, don't chase. Stand firm. Focus on yourself. Use that distance as an opportunity to grow, to thrive, to become someone so incredible that their absence feels like a blessing, not a loss. Remember, people learn from your actions, not your words. If you want them to value you, start by valuing yourself. If you want them to respect you, show them what it looks like to stand tall, to burn brightly, to be the flame that lights the world, not the shadow that follows. Drop this in the comments. I teach them how to treat me. Write it, believe it, and live it. Because you're not here to chase anyone. You're here to rise. Number 5. Don't just heal, shatter expectations. Oh, they don't see it coming. They think you're just going to heal, pick up the broken pieces, and quietly move on. They're expecting a soft glow, a dim version of the person they walked away from. But let me tell you something, healing is just the beginning. You're not here to merely recover. You're here to shatter every expectation they have about you. They think they know you. They think they've figured you out. They assume they've seen your best. And now that they're distant, you'll fade quietly into the background. But here's the truth. You're not fading. You're igniting. This is the part they didn't prepare for, the version of you they never saw coming. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The pain they caused, that's your fuel. The rejection, your launchpad. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you felt less than, that's the foundation for the masterpiece you're building now. Imagine a phoenix rising from its ashes. It doesn't just heal its burns, it becomes something entirely new, something that doesn't even resemble the version that was destroyed. That's you. You're not just stitching yourself back together. You're rewriting the entire blueprint of who you are. You're leveling up so hard that when they see you next, they'll have to squint to recognize you, if they even can. Do you know what shattering expectations looks like? It's Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team, coming back to dominate the game so thoroughly that his name is now synonymous with greatness. It's Oprah, rejected, ridiculed, and underestimated, building a media empire so vast that her doubters are now a footnote in her story. That's what it means to shatter expectations, not to heal quietly, but to rise so loudly that the world has no choice but to take notice. And let's not forget, this isn't about them. It's not about making them regret what they lost, though that's a nice side effect. This is about you. This is about becoming the version of yourself that doesn't just survive, but thrives so brightly that your past no longer defines you. They don't see it coming. They're expecting scars, but what they'll see is armor. They're expecting whispers, but what they'll hear is a roar. They're expecting the same person they left behind, but what they'll find is someone they could never even dream of deserving. Drop this in the comments. I don't just heal, I rise. Write it. Own it. Let it be the mantra that drives you forward. Because this isn't about healing. This is about becoming unstoppable. Number 6. Stop giving discounts on your value. So folks, let's talk about another lie. Society loves to tell you that if you just lower your standards a little, if you're a little more available, a little more forgiving, a little more easygoing, then they'll come around. What a joke. Let me tell you something. Every time you give someone a discount on your value, you're telling them you don't believe you're worth the full price. Think about it. When you go to a store and see something marked down, you assume it's not selling, that it's less desirable, that something about it wasn't good enough to keep its worth intact. That's exactly what happens when you lower your standards to keep someone in your life. They start to see you as cheap, as replaceable, as someone who will settle for less than what they deserve. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you think you're worth less, you'll start to act like it. You'll settle for breadcrumbs instead of the feast you deserve. And when you start acting like a discount, people will treat you like one. It's a vicious cycle, and it ends only when you decide to stop. Oh, but they love when you discount yourself, don't they? It makes things easier for them. They can keep their distance, give you the bare minimum, and still know you'll stick around. But here's the reality. When you lower your standards, you're not keeping them. You're losing yourself. Take Rihanna as an example. Do you think she gives discounts on her worth? No. She demands full value because she knows exactly what she brings to the table. And if someone can't afford her, literally or emotionally, that's their problem. That's the kind of energy you need to embody. Every time you accept less than what you deserve, you're telling the world you're okay with being undervalued. Stop it. You're not a clearance item. You're not a bargain bin find. You're the rare gem people need to work for, invest in, and cherish because they know they can't just find another like you. Think about this. Why would you keep handing out discounts to someone who already walked away? Why would you make it easier for them to undervalue you again? They're distant because they think you're still waiting, still available, still willing to accept whatever scraps they decide to offer. Prove them wrong. Show them your value has skyrocketed and they're not even in the price range anymore. Seneca once said, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." Your value isn't in how long you wait for someone to notice. It's in the quality of the life you build for yourself. Drop this in the comments. No more discounts. Write it. Believe it. Live it. Because you're not here to settle. You're here to soar. And your worth is non-negotiable. Number 7. No contact isn't silence. It's thunder. Let me tell you something. This no contact rule you're following, it's not about sitting quietly in the shadows, hoping they'll notice your absence. No contact isn't silence. It's thunder. It's the loudest declaration of your worth, your power, and your decision to reclaim your life. But here's the problem. Most people treat no contact like it's a whisper, a passive strategy, a game of waiting. You go silent and hope they'll hear it as loud as a scream. Let me tell you right now, that's not how this works. Silence by itself is nothing. But silence with purpose, silence backed by action, that's a storm they won't forget. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a field and the sky is dark. For a moment, it's still, quiet. But then the thunder rolls in, deep, rumbling, impossible to ignore. That's what no contact should feel like. Not a disappearing act, but a powerful presence that resonates even when you're not physically there. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." No contact is your chance to begin living, not for them, but for you. It's not about proving anything to them. It's about showing yourself what you're capable of. The thunder isn't for their ears, it's for your soul. Think about the people who've made their silence thunderous. Take Serena Williams, for example. When she faces setbacks, she doesn't argue, she doesn't beg, she works in silence. And when she comes back, her performance is so loud, it drowns out every critic, every doubter, every person who underestimated her. That's what no contact should be, a build-up of power so undeniable that your return shakes the ground they're standing on. And let's not forget Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple, did he sit in the background, quietly hoping they'd regret it? No. He went silent, built something extraordinary with Next and Pixar, and when he returned, he did so as a force of nature. That's the energy no contact needs to carry. Not silence for silence's sake, but silence that builds, transforms, and dominates. Now think about yourself. What are you doing with this no contact? Are you just sitting there staring at your phone, hoping they'll notice? Or are you building something they won't be able to ignore? Because here's the truth. No contact without action is just static. No contact with action is a hurricane. When they think about you, and they will, they should feel the rumble of your transformation, even from miles away. They should see your life evolving, your confidence growing, your energy radiating in ways they didn't think were possible. Your silence isn't empty, it's filled with your rise. You see, no contact isn't just about what you stop doing. It's about what you start doing. It's about the work, the growth, the commitment to yourself that turns the quiet into a roar. This isn't about waiting for their attention. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need it. Seneca said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That's what no contact is. Your classroom, your workshop, your stage. You're learning how to thrive, how to build, how to become so magnetic that their absence feels like a footnote in the epic of your life. So stop thinking of no contact as a passive tool. It's not. It's a declaration. It's thunder. And when they finally hear it, it won't be because you begged for their attention. It'll be because you've become so powerful, so undeniable, that your silence drowns out everything else in their world. Drop this in the comments. I am the thunder. Let it be your mantra, your battle cry. No contact isn't about waiting, it's about becoming. And when you do, they'll hear you loud and clear. Society has a script for you, and let me tell you, it's rigged. It whispers, play hard to get, go silent, make them miss you, stay just out of reach, and they'll come crawling back. And you know what? It's a lie. No, wait, let me correct that. It's a half-truth. Sure, silence can make someone notice your absence, but only if you're using that silence to become someone worth noticing. Silence by itself? That's just a pause button on your life, not a strategy for winning. The problem is, society makes you believe the work ends with going quiet, as if disappearing into thin air will suddenly make someone value you. But here's the harsh truth. Silence doesn't make anyone miss you. It's the transformation behind the silence that does. And if you're not doing the work to grow, to thrive, to level up, then your silence is just background noise they'll easily forget. Think of it like this. Society hands you a paintbrush and tells you to stop painting. If you don't add any more colors, they'll appreciate the canvas, it says. But what's a blank canvas compared to a masterpiece? If you're not creating, evolving, or adding to your story, then you're just static. And static doesn't attract attention. It's ignored. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The silence isn't the action. It's the pause that gives you the space to act. It's the foundation for your growth, not the growth itself. And society conveniently leaves that part out, doesn't it? Look at the greats. Think about Serena Williams. Do you think she plays by the rules of silence? No. She takes setbacks, goes quiet, and comes back louder than ever, not with words, but with achievements that shake the world. That's the difference between playing society's game and creating your own. The half-truth is this: silence can be powerful, but only when it's paired with action. The full truth is that you don't just disappear and hope for attention. You disappear to rebuild, to rise, to become the kind of person whose absence leaves an unfillable void. So stop believing the half-truths society sells you. Silence isn't the endgame, it's the opening move. What you do with it defines whether you win or lose. Drop this in the comments. I don't fade, I rise. Write it, believe it, and live it. Because you're not here to follow their script. You're here to write your own. So here we are. No contact isn't about waiting, wishing, or playing games. It's not about hoping they'll notice your silence or feel your absence. It's about becoming. It's about using the space they left to build something extraordinary. Your confidence, your purpose, your life. You don't win by sitting still. You don't win by hoping they'll regret losing you. You win by making your growth impossible to ignore. Let the world see the thunder you bring, the fire you ignite, the masterpiece you're creating from the ashes of what they left behind. This isn't about getting them back. This is about getting you back. And when you do, oh, they'll feel it. They'll see the storm you've become. But by then, you won't even care. If this video hit home, do me a favor. Hit that like button to let the world know you're done playing small. Make sure you subscribe too, because your journey doesn't end here. It's just getting started. Stay bold, stay unstoppable, and I'll see you in the next one.